To continue with the theme of manga tutorials, I think we should discuss one of the things I see aspiring manga artists particularly struggle with: simply starting the project. Also, I received lots of wonderful comments on my first video, and so thank you to any returning viewers. One of the lovely commentators pointed out how outrageous my pronunciation of the word manga was. I'll henceforth be pronouncing it like manga, more akin to the sound it would produce in a Japanese context. In a family of artists, my dad is an artist, my mom is an artist, my brother is an artist, I'm not the only one who wants to at least draw some manga. My brother has had many great story ideas brewing in his head, but many of them die rather abruptly, and others die slow, painful, agonizing deaths. Either way, this is a fate many beautiful ideas meet because of the initial art block he and many other individuals face when starting a project, which I have dubbed creative intimidation. It's as if we birth a gorgeous little baby, but then this child reaches its toddler age of development, and all of a sudden it becomes far too strenuous to handle, especially for a single parent. The stories that other folks write are a cruel lover who abandons us when it's time to really raise this child we call an idea. Because only you, the artist, can pick up the pencil and develop the idea you've been given. If you don't, you'll most likely feel guilt for letting it die. Unless you either have no conscience, or have ADHD and get so many ideas that most will inevitably die anyway. Regardless, you can think of this video as a sort of maternity book, so that you can develop your idea into the masterpiece it can be. So, is the idea still cooking in the oven? For most kids, the healthy thing would be to let the child grow in the womb at its own pace, eating well and not doing anything too physically taxing. But not ideas. Not your idea. Your idea isn't going to slow cook and relax in your belly. The only thing your idea is getting is protein shakes and a bench press. When you have an idea that you like, you shouldn't let it simmer on the back burner. Instead, you should try drawing out the characters, places, and other concepts based on this idea, and that will exponentially expedite the development process, making the idea itself more attractive to you while also fleshing it out into something worth telling to an audience. Just jumping right in. Interestingly enough, my manga, Paradis, started out with the idea of blending a fantasy manga and a reverse harem. I wanted to draw lots of sword fighting and monsters, but knowing that the harem genre is popular among manga and anime fans, I took it into consideration. That way the fights are fun, they kind of make sense, and I can still have that amusing, entertaining, romantic aspect to it as well. Although it's nothing new, I was able to develop these ideas simply by sitting down and drawing the characters I knew I would need. After that, simply gritting my teeth and working my very eyebrows off on the first chapter. Kind of based around the themes of my first video, I will once again like to reiterate that setting the tone and actually just drawing the story is going to be the first big step you have to take. This is the whole video on why it's hard to start your manga and kind of how to do it, how to make that easier, but really the only thing I can offer you when it comes down to add to the most technical things is encouragement on simply sitting down and drawing it. Setting the tone, having an idea about where you want the first couple of sequences to go is very important. Once you've set that up, once you've decided how exactly you want the story to go, only then can you really decide, okay, what image should I really have in the first panel of my manga? And really, all it takes is simply putting pen to paper and drawing it. So that's kind of the most I can offer you, is simply words of encouragement of that Even if it looks bad to you, that's okay. A lot of manga artists, a lot of the mangakas that I like, that even you might like, started off with some pretty awful looking drawings. Attack on Titan, for instance, had some pretty questionable levels of art in the first volumes, I'd like to say. But even if it doesn't look good, simply actually drawing it will lead to more results than trying to make it look good on your first go. Even if it doesn't look to your liking, even if it doesn't look quite perfect, it's okay. As long as you actually push yourself to produce a scene, a character, and a bit of dialogue or monologue, only then will the story start to flesh out even more than you think you might already have done. So the idea is there, but how does one build around it? Often, an idea is a specific character, scene, or plotline. Regardless of what that idea may be, every idea needs meat around its bones, and a particular style. Narnia and The Lord of the Rings are both stories about a group of people going on an adventure in a fantastic, medieval-inspired world, with good and evil contending. But both are very different in tone, pacing, and character development. Basically, they're different in style. My idea was a fantasy reverse harem with a healthy dose of action. That covers the most basic of aesthetics and a general cast. But the particular tone and plot direction are still floating around like plankton in the ocean. There are a billion options and none seem better than the other. To get a concrete idea of plot direction and overall tone, decide on a purpose for your story. Whether it be a cautionary tale, social commentary, or a moral lesson, every good story has a purpose. Once that has been decided, it's easier to gauge what an ending would look like, and then construct the plot and world backwards or forwards from there, whichever alleviates the workload of construction the best. I have an idea partly fleshed out, but I just can't bring myself to start drawing. So let's say you have a Google Doc with everything you need to break ground and really draw the manga. Up till now, this has been more general storytelling advice that most people within artistic circles have heard. So why are there still so many victims of creative intimidation when it comes to manga? I've heard several people say, I just don't know what to put in the first panel. One of the best balms for this particular ailment is setting the tone for your story. If the story is serious and dark, starting without any narration and a few establishing shots to set the scene would be very good. Alternatively, humorous or melodramatic narration from the protagonist would be an intriguing hook for a more lighthearted story, or even a scene that establishes the story's premise, such as a snippet of a cataclysmic event between the hero and the Demon King which led to the apocalyptic world the story takes place in. As long as you have a set tone for the story, deciding on the first couple of panels is significantly easier. To continue paneling your manga beyond that, it will always be a matter of tones, but instead of the overarching tone of the story, more focused on the individual tones of each scene. As a sort of disclaimer, all of this is spoken from my vast pocket amount of experience. So if any words I have spoken do not resonate with you or your workflow and style, there is likely a reason for that. Additionally, if you have better advice than I do, please tell me in the comments. I genuinely have learned some things from the many comments I received in my last video. And so with that, I leave you all to your own devices. You're now responsible for your own ideas, but that doesn't mean we can't help each other pay child support. Keep reading stories and use that inspiration to work on your own stories. I can even help with the idea support if you join my Discord server, the link is in the description, or my subreddit, the link is also in the description. Both are centered around Paradise, but because there's so little activity, it'd be perfectly fine to just have some folks come in and discuss art and storytelling in general. In any case, I hope this helped, and thank you for watching. God bless.